To understand these beautiful paths, we must first look at them with gentle eyes. Meditation, as it comes to us from the East, is the simple practice of being present. It is the art of stopping, sitting, and paying attention to our own breath. When we breathe in, we know we are breathing in. When we breathe out, we know we are breathing out. It is not about stopping our thoughts, but about noticing them without getting carried away. We watch our thoughts and feelings come and go, like clouds floating in the vast sky of our mind. There is no judgment, only a peaceful awareness that allows us to see things just as they are. Contemplation, a flower that has grown in the soil of the West, is a different kind of looking. It is a loving and thoughtful gaze upon a single subject, often a sacred text, an idea, or an image of the divine. It is less about emptying the mind and more about filling it with a specific truth or presence. Imagine holding a single flower in your hand and looking at it deeply. You are not trying to stop thinking. You are directing all your thought, all your love, and all your attention toward that one flower. In this way, contemplation is an active form of inner listening, a quiet conversation with God, with truth, or with the deepest parts of your own heart. The purpose of meditation is often described as awakening. We awaken to the true nature of reality, seeing the interconnectedness of all things. The goal is to go beyond the small self, the ego, and to touch a state of liberation or enlightenment. It is a journey inward to discover a vast, empty space that is full of peace and freedom. By letting go of our attachments and our stories about who we are, we find a profound stillness that was always there, waiting for us. This path teaches us that we do not need to add anything to ourselves to be complete. We only need to quiet down enough to see what is already present. The purpose of contemplation, on the other hand, is often described as union. The goal is to draw closer to a divine presence, to connect with God in a deep and personal way. It is a path of love and knowledge, where the heart seeks to understand and be understood by a transcendent source of goodness. The aim is not to empty the self, but to offer the self in a relationship of love and devotion. Through this focused attention, the person hopes to gain moral insight, a clearer understanding of their purpose, and a feeling of being held in a loving embrace. It is a journey outward from the self toward a sacred other. In the East, there are many beautiful paths of meditation, each like a different gate into the same garden of peace. In Zen Buddhism, practitioners often sit in zazen, a practice of silent, upright sitting, where attention is placed on the breath or on simply being aware. Another path is Vipassana, which means to see things as they really are. In this practice, we gently scan our body and mind, observing sensations and thoughts without reacting to them. This helps us understand the impermanent nature of all things. These methods are not about achieving something, but about cultivating a state of mindful awareness that we can carry with us into every moment of our day. In the West, the practices of contemplation are also rich and varied, offering many ways to connect with the divine. One ancient method is Lectio Divina, or divine reading. This involves slowly reading a short passage of scripture 4 times. Media group, an old open book resting on a wooden table with soft light falling on the pages. Close-up of hands turning the pages of a Bible at stock at distribute _ equally. First to understand its literal meaning, then to reflect on what it says to our heart, then to respond in prayer, and finally to simply rest in the presence of God. Another well-known practice is the Ignatian exercises, which use imagination to place oneself inside biblical stories, engaging the senses and emotions to deepen one's relationship with the divine. These are active practices, using the mind and heart to build a bridge to the sacred. The main goal in Eastern traditions is often called transcendence or awakening. The idea is to transcend or go beyond the individual self and its endless cycle of desires and suffering. By seeing that our thoughts and feelings are not permanent fixtures, we can free ourselves from their grip. This leads to a state known as nirvana, or enlightenment, which is not a place but a state of being, a state of ultimate peace, clarity, and compassion for all living things. It is the realization that our true nature is not separate from the universe, but is one with it. Like a wave, realizing it is part of the great ocean. The main goal in Western traditions is union with God and gaining moral insight. The journey is not about dissolving the self, but about perfecting it and offering it in a loving relationship with its creator. The practitioner seeks to align their will with the divine will, to become a clearer channel for divine love and grace in the world. The outcome is a profound sense of communion, of being known and loved by God. This intimate connection provides guidance for living a virtuous life, helping the person to make choices that are rooted in compassion, justice, and love for their neighbors. It is a path of relationship and transformation. Modern science has begun to explore these ancient paths, using its tools to look inside the mind's garden. Studies using brain imaging show that regular meditation can bring wonderful changes. It can calm the amygdala, the part of our brain that reacts to fear and stress, making us feel more peaceful and less anxious. It also strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which helps us with focus, awareness, and making wise decisions. Scientists have found that practices like mindfulness meditation can reduce symptoms of depression and improve our overall well-being. It is like gently tilling the soil of our mind, making it a healthier place for positive thoughts and feelings to grow. Science has also looked at contemplative practices, although not as extensively. The findings show that these practices also have powerful benefits for our mental and emotional health. Because contemplation often involves focusing on positive concepts like love, gratitude, and compassion, it can activate brain circuits associated with empathy and positive emotions. Practices that involve prayer and reflection can give people a strong sense of meaning and purpose, which is a powerful protection against feelings of hopelessness. It seems that whether we are emptying the mind or filling it with loving thoughts, we are actively shaping our brain for greater peace and resilience. When we look at the final spiritual outcome, we see two different flavors of the same beautiful truth. In Eastern traditions, the ultimate realization is often described as sunyata, or emptiness. This does not mean nothingness. It means empty of a separate, independent self. It is the understanding that everything is interconnected and co-arises with everything else. The self is not a solid thing, but a process, a flowing river. To realize this is to be free from the illusion of separation, and this freedom is the source of boundless compassion. The ultimate state is a silent, formless unity with all that is. In Western traditions, the final spiritual outcome is often described as a loving presence or communion. The goal is not to become empty, but to become so full of divine love that the self is transformed. The soul does not disappear. Instead, it finds its truest identity in its relationship with God. The mystics speak of a spiritual marriage, a state of ecstatic union where the person remains distinct but is completely one in love and will with the divine. The ultimate state is not a silent emptiness, but a joyful, loving dialogue, a perpetual dance of relationship with the source of all love. Both paths lead to a profound sense of oneness, expressed in different ways. In our modern world, the river of spirituality flows between these two great banks, the East and the West, and many people now draw water from both sides. It is beautiful to see how these practices can be blended together to create a path that fits the individual heart. For example, a person might begin their day with a period of silent mindfulness meditation, simply watching their breath to calm their mind and become present. This Eastern practice creates a foundation of inner stillness and clarity, preparing the ground of their being for deeper work. After finding this quiet space within, the same person might then move into a Western contemplative practice. They might take a sacred phrase or an idea, such as, "Love your neighbor as yourself," and hold it gently in their mind. They can use the focused awareness gained from meditation to explore this idea from all sides, letting it sink into their heart and transform their intentions for the day. In this way, the emptiness of meditation becomes a vessel, ready to be filled with the loving purpose of contemplation. We do not have to choose one path. We can walk with one foot on each bank of the river. Ultimately, these two traditions are like two different languages describing the same magnificent mountain. One may use the language of emptiness and awakening, while the other uses the language of presence and union. But both are pointing toward the same peak, a place of deep inner peace, profound understanding, and boundless compassion. They are both trying to help us answer the deepest questions of the human heart. Who am I? What is my purpose? How can I live with less suffering and more joy? Both paths offer us precious gifts to help us on our journey. Therefore, we can learn so much by opening our hearts to the wisdom of both East and West. We do not need to build a wall between them. We can see that meditation helps us to quiet the noise so we can hear, while contemplation gives us something beautiful to listen to. By embracing both, we can cultivate a rich and balanced inner life. Whether we are watching our breath or reflecting on a sacred truth, we are walking the path home to ourselves, to the peace that is always available within us, waiting patiently for our return.